I used to ask myself, why is belly fat so hard to get rid of? Even when I was able to lose weight and gain more lean muscle mass, it was like the fat around my waist would just hold on for dear life. Yet when you listen to my unusual story, you'll discover that just like many others you'll hear from later, I was able to drop the stubborn fat around my waist and keep it off. And I did it without endless cardio and crazy workouts, while eating my favorite foods and living an extremely busy life as an editor and researcher of natural healing cures. Now, like a lot of guys, I was frustrated and angry because even though I would religiously follow the rules of one diet after another, cutting the carbs, doing more and more crunches, trying to decide which new extreme workout program would do the trick, my weight would just not budge. And even when it did drop, I could never get rid of the stubborn excess weight in my midsection. You know, the love handles that would kind of spill over my belt, and that layer that blanketed my abs. It was like my stomach area had an invisible force field that made it immune from any diet or workout I was doing. But that was until I met a certain nutritionist and fitness expert named Glenn, who showed me that by addressing my stomach fat first, before anything else, that I'd lose weight all over my body, and more importantly, because he showed me how to do it naturally, still eat the foods I loved, and work out way less, I'd then be able to maintain my weight and especially keep my lean waistline for the rest of my life. At first I said, yeah, right. But what he was teaching made so much sense after I thought about it a while. So I was willing to try it out. He told me what I needed to do, how I had to stop working out so much, and to absolutely stop doing crunches or sit-ups altogether. He told me to stop doing endless cardio, to start eating more, and I could even have my favorite desserts, but at very strategic times. Long story short, I ended up dropping at least 13 pounds I couldn't shake, and my love handles, my protruding stomach, and that pudgy layer of fat that covered my abs all melted off. Now, my jeans are loose around the waist, my stomach is flat and lean, and there's hardly a trace of any love handles anymore. Now, remember, I'm just one of many guys I've met and interviewed who have used Glenn's methods, and after sharing his methods with me, my view of health and fat loss has changed forever. With these secrets, which I'll be sharing with you in just a bit, all of these men are free of their stubborn excess weight, proud of their leaner stomachs, and still enjoying the foods they love. Again, my name is John. I'm a natural health researcher and practitioner, and by watching till the very end, you're going to discover how to rid yourself of stomach fat for good, and the most resistant and stubborn kind that just won't budge, or at best goes away only to rebound again with a vengeance, and completely fat-proof your belly area for the rest of your life. And yes, I do mean it when I say you'll keep your lean stomach area for the rest of your life. And that's because you're about to see the main cause of belly fat that so-called experts don't even know about, and why all the diets and devices hawked on late-night infomercials will never work. I don't know how long this presentation is going to be up, but if you come back tomorrow and this presentation is no longer there, don't say I didn't warn you. So watch this right now while you still can. I can tell you from my own experience that even though this may sound impossible right this moment, after you watch to the very end and follow what it says, like thousands of deeply grateful people have before you, your coworkers, friends, and family, they'll all be shocked at the staggering transformation your body goes through almost overnight. How suddenly even your abs, that you haven't been able to see in years or even decades, now start to show and get more and more defined. So there's no more excess water retention, no more bloating, how cravings for sweets and junk food vanish, and you have energy that just doesn't quit, and deep mental focus that just comes naturally. And that's just to name a few incredible results I've experienced. I'm going to introduce you to this brilliant nutritionist and fitness expert and reveal some of his secrets in just a second. But before I do, I need to talk about the big lie that's keeping you from having the slim waistline you've always deserved. And I think you'll see why I feel a sense of duty to share it with you. Especially after you hear how a man who was borderline diabetic and was able to bring his blood sugar back to normal for good. Or how another guy was suffering from depression and low sex drive. But when he learned what I'm about to share with you, not only did he get his lean physique back, he regained his sex drive completely. Or how another guy whose cholesterol was dangerously high stunned his doctor when he showed up over 20 pounds lighter and with perfect blood work. Or how you can virtually eliminate the fatigue that comes with the type of toxic body fat I'm about to show you. So you can blast through your days full of the strength, focus, and energy like you had in high school. Not to mention the constant reports of guys who've been able to eliminate energy crashes, bloating, and even digestion problems they didn't even expect to, all without doing a single sit-up, crunch, or counting a single carb. But just a fair warning, some of what Glenn discovered might be kind of hard to believe, and may even seem odd. In fact, when you hear what he has to say, you may even reject it. But that's only because he isn't rehashing the same mass-marketed information just to make a buck. You see, he spent his whole career studying the human metabolism, and because he's a holistic practitioner, he looks at the human metabolism in a completely different way. So please stay with me and keep watching. So what's the big lie that's keeping you from naturally having a thin waistline without even trying? The big lie is that belly fat can be burned with eating less carbs or calories and working out harder or more intensely. And an even bigger lie is that some kind of ab exercise can burn fat around your abs and waist. As I'm about to prove to you in just a minute, none of that is true. And a simpler, easier, and more permanent solution exists that you can start tonight. The truth is that there's a nasty looking organ we all have, and it's inside of our abdominal area, behind our ab muscles. It's called the omentum. It's like the word momentum, but without the M. This omentum is like a fishing net, but instead of catching fish, it catches fat. And it does it deep inside our belly. Here's a video to show you just how this works.
If you've got too much belly fat, problems start to happen. And here's the big one. Let's look at the omentum. This is an animation. That yellow stuff there, that's the omentum. And that pad, we're going to get rid of that for a second. There's the liver up there, the gallbladder, the green stuff. And there's the stomach of the food you ate earlier today. And it's being pushed down to the small bowel. Your bowel is going to mix that with bile, the green stuff from the gallbladder. And like a soap, it'll wash it and help it absorb through this very thin wall to the big portal vein. This vein carries all the nutrients to the liver. No matter what you eat, the liver's going to metabolize it and send it out to the body. If you eat healthy stuff, the liver's going to love that. If you eat unhealthy stuff, the liver will turn fatty. This fat liver afflicts a quarter of the population. And then this omentum starts to get ponderously large as it pulls way across and becomes that big beer belly that so many folks have. This is actually what happens inside of your belly. The reason your belly gets big is not because you got a little fat beneath the skin. You get big fat under the muscle, way inside where those organs are that I showed you. Normally, omentum looks like this. See, it's very thin, very dainty. It's like pantyhose, very elegant, right? You can see through it almost. I can see you, right? Now, what happens is, instead of having that nice dainty omentum, you end up with this. Now, compare this to this. There's a big difference there. And that's the difference that I'm talking about. When you have this big pad of omentum here slapping up inside of your intestines, there's no way your body can keep up with it. And it causes coronary artery disease, it causes diabetes, it causes hypertension. That's what I'm focused on today, because this belly fat poisons your liver, causing high cholesterol. It squeezes the kidneys, and the kidneys have to jack up your blood pressure because the kidneys regulate your blood pressure. And it also poisons the ability of insulin to work. And without that, you get diabetes.
So you see, this kind of belly fat is not just the fat right under our skin. It's buried deep inside of our abdominal area, and it's a lot harder to reach when it's growing deep inside. It's also why even if you are able to lose some weight, your stomach may still stick out or resist your diet or exercise efforts. You see, if your weight loss program doesn't attack this area deep inside your belly, not only will it keep your stomach fat, you'll have a much harder time losing weight in all the other areas of your body. Why? Because this omentum, when it grows all around your liver. And when your liver goes from looking like this to this, a large fatty liver, do you see how it's graying and enlarged? That's an enlarged fatty liver that not only causes all the health-related diseases we have today, like heart disease, diabetes, and cholesterol, but a fatty and inflamed liver also makes it impossible for you to lose weight anywhere else. Why is that? Because your liver is like the oil filter of your car. But instead of cleaning oil, it cleans all your fat-burning hormones. When you think about your teen years, that was when your body changed the most, right? That's because of your hormones. Hormones are extremely powerful. And when it comes to fat-burning hormones, they're the most powerful fat-burning substance. And when your liver is clogged up, dirty, and inflamed, these powerful fat-burning hormones get blocked. But there's a third way the omentum affects your weight in general, and it affects men. A blocked liver can throw a guy's hormones out of balance. Important hormones like testosterone. And we start to experience a lack of energy, lack of sex drive, lack of muscle recovery, loss of lean muscle mass, and a lack of focus. And because some of these imbalances affect your hunger, cravings go through the roof. Not only that, there's even a testosterone imbalance that will force your body to turn your own testosterone into estrogen. So we start to build higher and higher levels of female hormones. So men start to get the dreaded man boobs. And that's what makes them look like this. The worst part is, if you keep working out the same way, it'll get worse. And this makes him think there's something wrong with him, because he can even be getting stronger in the gym, but he's getting more emotional and getting fat in the chest area as well as in the hips and the thighs. So you see, when someone talks about doing sit-ups or crunches, Glenn, he just rolls his eyes. It's so much more than that. It affects so many areas of your health and your life. And by addressing the true causes of what we call belly fat, these people, and many more you're about to hear, were able to flip the switch that turned their body from fat storing to fat burning. Here's just one story from Nick from San Diego. He was able to drop his excess weight that just wouldn't budge and said, "Over the past 10 years, I've been losing weight and putting it back on just about every 3 months. I finally took a much needed step and hired Glenn to help me stop the yo-yo diet cycle. After 30 days, I lost 11 pounds and I was able to get back into my favorite pair of jeans. After 60 days, I lost a total of 16 pounds. After 120 days, the 3-month mark, the weight is still off, my skin looks much better, and I actually have energy at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. People always ask me what's different, and it really boils down to the education I received from Glenn. He puts facts behind his food and nutrient recommendations so that I began to want to eat healthier foods instead of just forcing myself. It's been a lifestyle change, and I couldn't be happier to have officially said goodbye to the old, overweight Nick." Then there's James, who was one of those gym rats who worked out all the time but still couldn't shed the stubborn weight. Well, he was one of those who was overtraining, and Glenn knew that because one of his complaints was that he was having insomnia. He couldn't sleep at night. Here's what he said. "I've lost 8 pounds and it's mostly around my waist. I'm also starting to sleep 7 to 8 hours at night. I'm feeling so much better and a lot less water retention." Then there's Larry, who was a retired doctor. He wrote in saying, "I have now had a good bit of time to get through your book and put into practice some of the suggestions. Firstly, it's great how you explain everything in terms of physiology. As a doctor, it amazes me how much physiology I had forgotten. I've read many fitness books where the author says, do this, then do that, or this has worked for me and it will work for you too. Usually these workouts are given without any explanation how they are based on physiology, and being individuals, what works for one person may not work for another. So Glenn, full marks for me on the physiological content. I also love the presentation of the book and would really be nice to see it put into print. So overall, congrats on a nice piece of work. Last time, I told you I had lost 20 pounds in 3 months by changing the diet and workout routine. My waist has gone from 45 inches down to 38 inches. I've been following your workout recommendations now for about 2 weeks, and once again, the fat is going and my waist is getting smaller again. This is great motivation. Really, Glenn, I want to see how fit and lean I can get. Push myself to the limits if you like. At 57, I don't feel I have both feet in the grave yet. Above all, I don't want to become what I see lots of my friends starting to turn into, wizened old men. Now those are just a few success stories I've read, and you're about to hear more in just a bit. So how can you actually do this for yourself? Great question. Now here's the great answer. I persuaded Glenn to put all this information into a simple program men can do on their own, right in the comfort of their own homes. With your permission, I'd like to share with you the power of Glenn's discoveries and how to make your body effortlessly let go of all the excess fat stores and all the excess weight stored in your stomach and waist area. When you master the simple concepts you're about to get your hands on, you'll be astonished that your measurements and your body shape can change so fast, and that you'll start to feel so much energy. And this is what I want for you. I want you to get your magic moment as soon as possible. So go ahead, place your order, and begin your transformation as soon as possible. You have absolutely nothing to risk at all. Click the button below. Again, this is John, and thank you for your time. Oh, and please send me your success stories.